are the denizens of the dark, cloaked in blackest shadow. We are the fallen angels, soaring through ebon skies upon ravens' wings. We are the wolves that prowl the midnight hours to prey upon the harmless. We are the descendants of the dragon's blood, the keepers of the ancient flame. We are the chosen ones, who dare to explore the mysteries of the unseen realms. We are Legion, for we are many, and united, we cannot be vanquished.
Adrimalesh, keeper of the damned scroll of names, account of the first damned. I don't know about any others out there that have come to learn that damnation is waiting for them at the end of the road of life, but the tale of Solomon Kane hearkens a sense of help to that curse of damnation that awaits us. My tale is simple, for so many know it, but at the same time many know nothing of what truly transpires and what dark events lay ahead that I must endure. Lead me from one of stout faith and honor, to that of the legendary evil I am to become. And though it is true to that of what the spirit of the Christ child had said to me, that,
along my path when those days do come, that if I hold true to my faith in him and do not let the burdens I must bear corrupt who I am within, if I can stay true to myself and my faith in him and can resist becoming consumed by hatred and vengeance, then he shall come and offer his comfort in my most darkest hours. For God does not abandon those who stand by him.
These were the words given to me by the Spirit of Christ, who came and consoled me one night as I pondered my awaiting fate of the legend I am to become. No one realizes the immense burden I bear that is attached to my namesake and destined path before me. When this first began I was a mortal still, like Jesus was, and knowing full well the path that was ahead of him and what fate lies at the end. Although my tale is only similar in principal comparison, the events are far more different. And to compound the issue is the fact that it is a necessary fate that must occur. These events that are to befall me cannot be changed, and I must be the one who suffers these horrific things to come and no other. For if another were to try and walk in my path, it would doom everything in creation and beyond it to total destruction. That burden is the entitlement of the evil one. I must walk through the countless ages of man here on earth and emulate the role of the father of lies, the prince of darkness and the incarnate of evil, even though it will never truly be who I am within. I must become for all time the defeated adversary, though truly in my heart I am righteous and a man of valor, for I am an angel, which means I yearn for the virtues of God. I must become that which hunts and persecutes and drives the hatred in man's hearts to take up sword and kill in the name of blinded virtues and false beliefs. I must become the devil for mankind to know between good and evil, and philosophically increase the depth of their understanding between those paths, so that when God comes to earth in mortal flesh he can explain his will for them to live by, and they will be able to understand his teachings, for this fuels the wisdom of all life in creation and much more. For all that to occur as planned, though I must be the entitlement of my name's legend as the adversary, and there are no other that can achieve this goal successfully, for it is my virtuous heart and willingness to commit to what is necessary that shall see me through where all others would fail. Because of this role I must play, true faith and altruism have always been hidden from me. Not by God or heaven, but by those who seek to forsake all that is for the sake of their desires. But try as they might, they cannot stop destiny. I found true faith and virtue despite their play against the odds. It is that faith and trust in what he has shown me of the truth of himself that strengthens my belief in his Son's words that he shall not truly abandon me to this orchestrated fate of destruction in the end. He shall come and save me when it is time and the purpose of my destiny has been fulfilled. And so I leave these words here at the end of days, where it is safe to utter the truth within me before I return across the spans of mankind's history, for time is an aspect within creation and holds no limitations to events that occur in heaven. May the blessed Father have mercy upon me in times of darkness, and may his virtue, whom I entrust the very fate of my eternal soul with, be there at my journey's end to tell me in his ways of the success this sacrifice has wrought. And now I swallow that who I am to become that which my destiny calls me to be. For your God is not here today, priest.
Now I stand in the midst of my ascension towards heaven and that entitlement of God's greatest and most beautiful of his angels. Each day, each tale that I write and present to you all to learn and increase your knowledge and understanding with is surrounded by encounters with many of heaven's highest councils, even down to the smallest measured among his ranks. There I am found within the greatest of all his angels. For I am mightier than God, more beautiful than God. I am wiser than God, and am even more powerful than God. Because I am not God, nor have I any desire to ever be him. His role is defeated by himself and his need to be that which mankind believes him to be. He forever exists outside their limits of understanding, barely even able to maintain a tangible presence within the boundaries of his own designed creation. I, however, am always just at the edge of all creation's understanding, almost within grasp until I choose to alter that position. All gaze upon my glory in wonder and awe. As beautiful as the morning dawn and as deadly as the twilight dusk whose shadows hold unseen and intangible peril. Thus it is done as above, so too shall it be below, for nothing is true and everything is permitted, and my deeds shall raise my ascension even above the congregation of the Mountain of Olives. My throne shall rise above even the glory of God himself.
Enough of your farce, Lucifer, you know you go too far this time. I cannot allow such descent in my ranks. Especially not from one so carefully crafted as you.
Do you not see how glorious your angelic protectors over all that is have become by the might of my hand? Their deeds of virtue and relevance to the design of your will make them like gods among men and even to the hosts of heaven itself.
You were my greatest endeavor of the angelic hosts, second only to Adam as my greatest endeavor in creation.
You compare me to that monkey and call me your greatest endeavor? Adam wouldn't even know how to procreate his own seed if it wasn't for me. His frail mortal flesh would not even be capable of witnessing what we have done. Together we are like the embodiment of the divine himself, your hand of creation. They are like the torso whose deeds make that intangible state a state of actions and therefore truth.
Careful your next words, Lucifer.
In fact, the only one I don't see fitting the rhyme scheme here is you accept that of a leech, suckling upon all our achievements. Your throne is not something any one angel can ever claim, for it is set in place by all our deeds, and therefore the appreciation can only be accepted by us all or by none at all.
I'm warning you, heed my words.
I too have my place in this grand design, and even knowing its machinations and the price I must bear for his design to be fulfilled, I still play my part. We are legion, for we are many, and it is I that has led this conflict to occur. I am the harbinger of evil, Samael, the true Samael, and the necessary counterpart to your divine presence. Our duality allows heaven's angels and you to walk and take action upon the earth and within creation. To maintain this equilibrium of balance, just as you have your grand design, I too have my design, and my design is set to protect the many levels of your creation by setting barriers we must adhere to are within it. In heaven you are who you are, but once you cross the boundaries of heaven that influence creation's state, then we all, God, the devil, angels of heaven and the demons of the order of darkness, must adhere to the design of the great cosmic balance. For each one of us that walks the earth or within creation, so too shall their counterpart, and exist in a symbiotic duality, ensuring that neither's presence will overwhelm the principal laws of reality, thus allowing interaction within creation without breaking it. Allowing the chance for heaven to emulate the will of God upon creation and the presence of evil and its order to emulate the prices and wages of sin, and also allowing both God and the devil to take their presence upon creation without their aspects destroying creation as well. I sometimes watch the numerous deities of both good and evil, heaven and hell, the light of God's will and the necessary shadow of that which is my will, rise and clash, then fall into defeat, only to rise again in new forms and ideals like the rising and setting of the dawn. Always set in place by his grand design and ultimate outcome we each struggle to achieve, usually believing that it came by our will and our desire, but in reality those desires were planted by his design will, so separating my grief for what is to come, for I fear these endeavors shall bear a heavy price to be paid, and I shall be the one to bear that burden. And knowing all this every step of the way, I find myself looking towards this movie depiction of Solomon Kane's struggle, and something is there, I feel, hidden within its storyline. And then I believe it dawned upon me like a bolt of lightning. The key to the salvation of the character's soul from damnation was pinpointed upon an oath he swore to the father of the girl he set out to save. These words of bonding I had heard before somewhere, the oath that the fathers of the Rasham swore to each other, committing themselves to the ideals they had agreed upon when they set out to become fathers and bear these children with the mortal women. They committed to the founding principles that they shared that justified their deeds as not acts of sin or out of defiance against God, but beliefs that what they were doing was good and by the ways of his will. That these children would not be born of sin, but through the union of their love they each would develop for the women who bore them. That they intended to consummate that love through marriage first. That each child brought forth they intended to pass down the knowledge and skills they themselves had learned of the virtues of angelic design and the glory of God's truth they each had experienced, and that they would pass this on to these children, their legacy, so that they too would become great like their fathers before them. This was the oath they all swore to stand by and let nothing taint or alter its origin and purpose. This was the keystone to redemption for even the most damned and wickedest of souls, and it lies in the commitment to stand by that oath made. That if one makes such an oath with God and he sets before you those oaths to stand by, if one holds true to his oath with God, his own covenant he has made with his Maker for salvation, then even the most damned and furthest cast from his presence can one day find his way home to him again, if that is what he truly seeks. Forsake that oath and one forsakes his own means to redemption. But even this act can be forgiven and another chance gained. Now this is not for certain a path of known redemption, but my center of angelic essence from which God has always guided me towards him, and that which he wished for me to learn vibrates in sync with this knowledge, telling me that it is one of the greatest secrets that one could ever know. It is like a revelation, more or less as if the furies of hell itself opened itself to me, and this is what it spoke. That this is the only true path out of hell. It cannot be manipulated or bartered upon. As long as the condemned soul stays true to its purpose and path, and enlightenment of one's own personal mistakes is understood, then it shall remain true to its sole ability of guiding one out of perdition. As I have said before, if you are in hell, I would be your only hope of ever finding a way out, and not to come looking for me, for when it was time, I most likely will have already found you. I am the shepherd of lost souls, and for those who truly seek redemption and are ready in their hearts to begin to rise and descend from the flames of perdition, this is the path. Good journeys, and don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. And for those still wondering and curious, how many of you out there can remember a moment in their life where they came close to a seriously tragic accident, but somehow by some odd stroke of luck, be it some stranger happened to witness what occurred and called for help, and thus you wake up a few hours later in the emergency room or some scenario like that, and something just hasn't been right since you just can't seem to put your finger on it? Every single person I have encountered has had this experience, and considering who I am, you might want to think to yourself about whether or not you made it through. Now for a word from our sponsor, Hell Incorporated, the Good Hands people. In today's wicked times there are many false prophets and pseudo-religious beliefs that could taint one's soul. That is why we here at Hell Incorporated have decided to release our Jesus F. Christ. Haven't been that scared the end was here since Y2K, bleached pube hairs of Moses commemoration collection to immortalize this killer Holy Ghost booger we call the coronavirus pandemic tragedy, that we all hear about but haven't personally seen yet. It comes with a set of commemoration I've been trumped whips that depict on each cloth the winning hand that beats a full house of spades in poker, which is a Prince Charles endorsed, I wanna be King Royal flush. And along with the trumped whips there is also the ceremonial decorative egg of Wuhan Yudan noodle soup, as well as a decorated accessory of one of the country's favorite pastime sports of ping pong, with the Xi Jinping pong paddle that brings to your home the fresh Asian delicacies of the Wuhan food market straight to your dining pleasures at home, while also sportingly supporting the Antichrist cross-table sports challenge of all time. All this can be available for the generous price of one Chinese supercarrier island base, 2 nuclear warheads able to reach Russia as quickly as possible, and a 2-month supply of Funyuns, oh yeah, and you're sold. Offer only valid for the 2 minutes and 35 seconds, which is how long it takes for them to trace the call, so order now.